Hey everyone, ready to dive deep into the world of Demon City? Released on March 10, 2025, this film has sparked endless discussions, and today, we're uncovering every thrilling detail. If you enjoy this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps us grow. And for more incredible movie explorations and hidden gems, subscribe to the channel. Now, let's unravel the magic behind this cinematic masterpiece. On February 27, 2025, Demon City made its much-anticipated debut on Netflix, quickly capturing the attention of audiences worldwide with its gripping storyline and intense, action-packed sequences. Directed by Seiji Tanaka and adapted from Masamichi Kawabe's manga Onigoroshi, this film dives deep into the soul of vengeance, the human condition, and the unyielding spirit of survival. The movie offers an immersive, high-octane experience that is visually captivating, emotionally charged, and thematically complex. A story that refuses to shy away from the darkness lurking within its characters and the world they inhabit. The narrative thrusts us into a dystopian future, where a sprawling metropolis known as Shinjo City has been consumed by corruption, crime, and the influence of the Kaimengumi gang. These masked criminals have taken control of the city, terrorizing its citizens under the guise of a twisted, supernatural prophecy that leads them to commit heinous acts in the name of fulfilling their destiny. At the heart of this chaotic world is Sakata, a hitman who, in a tragic twist of fate, finds himself on a path of vengeance after his family is brutally murdered by these very gangsters. What starts as a straightforward revenge tale quickly becomes something far more complex, filled with intense emotional stakes, shocking twists, and a visual spectacle that keeps the audience on the edge of their seats. Sakata, played with raw intensity by Toma Ikuta, is introduced as a seasoned hitman, a man who has spent years carving a life in the shadows. He's not just a killer. He's someone who, despite the violence that surrounds him, desires peace with his family. However, his sense of calm is shattered when, in a brutal act of violence, the Kaimengumi gang descends on his home, killing his wife and daughter in a merciless attack. The devastation leaves Sakata both physically and emotionally shattered, as he is left for dead, but miraculously survives. Scarred and broken, both in body and spirit, Sakata retreats into the desolate corners of Shinjo City, consumed by a desire for revenge but trapped in a life of solitude and pain. As the years go by, the city around him continues to spiral into chaos. The Kaimengumi gang, led by the enigmatic and sadistic Sunahara, controls every aspect of life within Shinjo City, wearing demon masks to further instill fear and power. Their belief in a twisted prophecy involving a demonic force pushing them to act out violent rituals sets the stage for the film's unfolding. Sakata, although crippled by his past, can't escape the call of justice. His quest for vengeance is fueled not only by his own grief, but by the revelation that his daughter, Ryo, survived the massacre that killed his wife, hiding in the shadows and silently watching as the years passed by. The emotional journey that unfolds is one of loss, redemption, and reconciliation. Sakata's intense physicality is balanced by his deep internal conflict. He is not simply fighting external foes. He is waging a war against his own demons. As the story progresses, we see Sakata gradually re-enter the world of violence, dragging himself through brutal combat sequences that reveal the immense toll his past has taken on him. Despite his physical limitations, he doesn't shy away from confronting the gang members that ruined his life. Each fight a painful reminder of the love he once had and the darkness he must now embrace to secure justice. What sets Demon City apart from other revenge films is its unwavering commitment to showcasing not just the action, but also the emotional and psychological transformation of its central character. Toma Ikuta delivers a breathtaking performance as Sakata, portraying a man teetering on the edge of humanity, determined to reclaim his lost honor and exact retribution, but constantly battling his inner turmoil. His portrayal of a man who is both broken and unyielding is compelling and deeply affecting. The physicality of his character is matched only by the complexity of his emotions, creating a compelling mix that drives the audience to root for him, even as his actions grow darker. The visual aesthetic of Demon City is another standout feature. Shinjo City itself becomes a character in its own right. Drenched in neon lights, decay, and shadows, the city serves as the perfect backdrop for the story. It's a place where hope seems to have withered away, but life continues in a warped, distorted way. The action scenes are meticulously choreographed, with each fight feeling like a battle for not just survival, but for Sakata's soul. These sequences are fast-paced, brutal, and often exhilarating to watch. But what makes them so gripping is the way they aren't just about the physicality of the fight. They're an emotional outlet for Sakata's inner conflict, a visceral manifestation of his rage, pain, and longing. One of the film's most shocking and deeply moving twists comes when Sakata discovers that his daughter, Ryo, who he had presumed dead, is alive and has been quietly following him in his pursuit of revenge. Her presence in the story adds a layer of complexity and emotional depth, turning the film from a simple revenge thriller into a story about legacy, family, and the cyclical nature of violence. Ryo's involvement in her father's mission to dismantle the Kaimingumi gang brings a sense of closure and purpose to the narrative, culminating in a final confrontation that is as much about redemption as it is about vengeance. As the narrative reaches its climax, the film delivers a visceral and emotionally charged final showdown between Sakata and Tsunohara, the gang leader whose twisted beliefs are driving the chaos in Shinjo City. In this confrontation, both characters are forced to reckon with the consequences of their actions, and the film ultimately asks the question: can revenge truly heal the wounds of the past, or does it only deepen the scars? The film concludes with a powerful sense of resolution, but one that leaves lingering questions about the cost of violence, the weight of the past, and the possibility of redemption. Demon City became a cultural phenomenon almost instantly upon its release, sparking discussions on social media and in film forums, with audiences dissecting the complex themes of revenge, justice, and trauma that permeate the narrative. It's a film that doesn't simply entertain. It challenges its viewers to consider the emotional and psychological costs of vengeance and to grapple with the darkness within themselves. The film's striking visuals, heart-pounding action, and powerful performances have made it a standout in the realm of contemporary action cinema. The film's impact goes beyond its intense violence and action scenes. It's the emotional depth, the exploration of human nature, and the thematic exploration of revenge that have made Demon City stand out. The portrayal of Sakata's transformation from a broken man seeking solace into a relentless force of vengeance is something that resonates deeply with viewers. At its core, the film is about more than just a man seeking to avenge his family. It's about the human condition, the toll that grief and trauma can take, and the lengths to which people will go when they have nothing left to lose. Demon City is a cinematic experience that demands to be explored in detail. Each scene, each fight sequence, and each emotional beat holds significance, offering something new with each viewing. The film doesn't simply give its audience a spectacle. It invites them to reflect, to engage with the deeper themes that lie beneath the surface. Its cultural impact and the fervor with which it has been discussed are a testament to its ability to resonate on a universal level. Whether it's the film's exploration of the psychological complexities of revenge or its breathtaking action sequences, there is something for every viewer to latch onto, making it a must-watch for anyone interested in action films with a deeper narrative weight. In the world of contemporary cinema, few films are as uncompromising and raw as Demon City. It is a film that stays with you long after the credits roll, forcing you to confront uncomfortable truths about the nature of vengeance, loss, and healing. If you haven't seen it yet, now is the perfect time to dive deep into this dark, exhilarating world. It's a film you won't soon forget. First half plot breakdown. Demon City kicks off with an intense sense of mystery, darkness, and an undercurrent of tension that is felt from the very first frame. As the opening credits fade away, we are immediately thrust into a gritty, dystopian world where shadows stretch over the neon-lit streets of Shinjo City, a place where danger and corruption permeate every corner. The pulse of this city, once a beacon of life, is now a ghost of its former self, overrun by crime and fear. It's a place where demons don't just exist in myth but walk the streets, masked and malevolent. At the heart of this bleak world is Shuhei Sakata, portrayed by Toma Ikuta, a hitman with a dark past, a man whose life is defined by the violence he has committed. Sakata's life, though, is about to take a devastating turn. The camera slowly zooms in on him as he silently enters his apartment after a tense mission. There is a quiet before the storm, a fleeting moment of peace as he embraces his wife, Yuki, and daughter, Ryo. Their warm, ordinary life is a stark contrast to the darkness that looms over the city. Sakata's love for his family is palpable, offering a fleeting hope that he may leave his violent past behind. But that hope is short-lived. Without warning, a group of masked intruders storms their home, each wearing a grotesque traditional Japanese demon mask. The violence is swift, brutal, and shocking, an assault that shatters the family in an instant. The leader of the attackers, Sunahara, emerges from the shadows with an air of malevolent purpose. He has come to exact vengeance, believing that Sakata's past crimes have triggered a prophecy that demands bloodshed. The masks, grotesque and unsettling, represent a twisted interpretation of demons and fate. They are not just symbols of terror. They embody the ruthless, almost otherworldly nature of the gang. This act of destruction marks a violent turning point in Sakata's life, as his wife and daughter are murdered in cold blood. The hitman survives, barely, left broken and paralyzed by the ordeal, both physically and emotionally. It's in this moment of pure devastation that Sakata's journey into the dark heart of Shinjo City truly begins. We see him in the aftermath, a man ravaged by grief, abandoned in the wreckage of his once peaceful life. But the spark of vengeance burns brightly within him. Despite being left for dead, Sakata refuses to surrender to the darkness. His body may be broken, but his spirit is not. It's this relentless drive for justice that forms the core of his character and sets the tone for the rest of the story. Flash forward 12 years. The Shinjo city we are introduced to now is a far cry from the world Sakata once knew. The city is decaying under the iron fist of the Kaimingumi gang, a powerful criminal syndicate that has grown bolder in the years following the massacre. Shinjo City has descended into chaos. Its streets are infested with crime, its inhabitants live in fear, and the Kaimingumi gang's influence is felt everywhere. They wear demon masks, instilling terror in every resident, and believe themselves to be destined to fulfill a blood-soaked prophecy, where their actions are driven by the need to fuel the myth of their own power. Sakata, now older and scarred, lives in isolation. He has retreated from the world, though the pain of his past haunts him every waking moment. The gang and the prophecy have consumed the city, but Sakata remains a figure of quiet vengeance, moving through the shadows, a ghost of the man he once was. He no longer seeks the world of violence, yet it continues to circle back to him in ways he cannot ignore. The first pivotal moment comes when he stumbles upon a mysterious encounter involving Kaimingumi operatives. Sakata is soon drawn back into the web of violence when a series of unsettling events trigger his memories and force him into action once again. A chance encounter with a mysterious woman, a member of the Kaimingumi gang, sends shockwaves through his fragile sense of stability. This woman, like the others, is masked, but something about her seems to stir something within Sakata. The air is thick with tension as the woman alludes to the fact that Sakata's own history with the Kaimingumi gang has not yet played out. There are whispers of a prophecy, a shadowy figure tied to the bloodshed that now stains the city. This scene sets the stage for the first of many battles to come, both physical and emotional. In these early moments, the story takes on a noir-like atmosphere, and the audience is introduced to a world defined by bleakness, corruption, and a sense of impending doom. The film cleverly intertwines action with an underlying narrative of survival and vengeance, and it's here that the first hints of the larger mystery are dropped. Sakata's encounter with the woman triggers something deep within him, and it's clear that the past isn't finished with him. It's only a matter of time before he finds himself fully embroiled in the struggle between the Kaimingumi gang and the dying city, with his fate forever intertwined with theirs. As Sakata begins to gather more information about the Kaimingumi gang and their twisted beliefs, the first major twist unfolds. It's revealed that Sakata's daughter, Ryo, whom he thought was lost forever, is still alive. This revelation sends a shockwave through Sakata, shattering the isolation he's carefully crafted for himself. Rio has not only survived the massacre, but she has been secretly observing her father from the shadows, her own journey twisted by the violence that claimed her family. She's been living on the fringes of the city, carefully avoiding detection by the Kaimengumi, but her involvement in Sakata's quest for vengeance is about to become unavoidable. In a series of quiet, tension-filled scenes, we witness Rio's gradual emergence. She's not just a survivor. She's a woman who has learned to navigate the treacherous, violent streets of Shinjo City. Her stealth, resourcefulness, and resolve become central to the plot. As she and Sakata's paths cross in increasingly intimate ways, a bond begins to form between the two, a father and daughter reuniting amidst the bloodshed. But this bond is not without complications. The city, the gang, and the prophecy all hold dark secrets that will challenge the pair in ways they cannot yet understand. One of the most important early moments in the film occurs when Sakata finally comes face-to-face with a member of the Kaimengumi gang. This first confrontation is electrifying, a brutal clash that pits Sakata's hardened, weary resolve against the raw aggression of the gang's members. Though physically debilitated by his past injuries, Sakata's will to fight burns hot, and he uses every ounce of his remaining strength to take down his adversary. The choreography of this scene is immaculate, emphasizing not just the physical violence, but also the emotional weight that drives Sakata's every action. This isn't a simple fight. It's the culmination of years of pent-up rage, grief, and a need for redemption. The first half of the movie draws the audience deeper into the web of the Kaimengumi gang's control over the city. As the story develops, the gang's leader, Sunahara, emerges as a central figure, an individual whose twisted beliefs in a demonic prophecy shape much of the city's current unrest. His enigmatic nature and sadistic tendencies make him a frightening presence, a man who believes that his actions are dictated by forces beyond human comprehension. Sunahara's power is not just physical. It's psychological, manipulating his followers with the belief that they are part of something greater than themselves. As the gang's reign over Shinjo City becomes more pronounced, Sakata finds himself forced to confront the darkness that has infected not only the city but also his own soul. As the first half of the movie draws to a close, the audience is left with a sense of foreboding anticipation. Sakata's journey is just beginning, but he is no longer the same man he once was. The world around him is darker, more dangerous, and more desperate than ever before. His quest for vengeance has now become intertwined with the survival of his daughter, Rio, and the fate of Shinjo City itself. With the prophecy looming, and the Kaimengumi gang tightening its grip on the city, Sakata's path toward justice is fraught with peril. The twists, betrayals, and secrets that have been set in motion will only deepen as the film progresses, building toward an inevitable confrontation that will shape the future of both the characters and the world they inhabit. In this first half of Demon City, the stage is set for an explosive ride, one that will challenge the characters, the audience, and the very nature of revenge itself. With each turn, the film teases larger questions about fate, destiny, and the cost of vengeance, all while delivering a high-stakes action spectacle that keeps you hooked from beginning to end. Second half, plot breakdown. As the second half of Demon City unfolds, the stakes reach new heights, and the labyrinthine story begins to take on a greater emotional weight. The tension, which had been building steadily in the first half, now boils over, pulling viewers deeper into the web of violence, family ties, betrayal, and unresolved vengeance that have come to define Shinjo City. With every passing minute, the characters find themselves forced to confront their pasts, their motives, and the consequences of their choices. The revelation that Sakata's daughter, Rio, is alive, something he could never have dreamed possible after the brutal murder of his family, opens up a floodgate of raw emotions, setting the tone for what's to come. She's no longer just a memory for him to mourn, but a person whose existence is tangled with his own journey of vengeance. Though they've spent years apart, both have been on similar paths of survival, each one haunted by the ghosts of that fateful night. Rio's re-entry into the story isn't just about reunion. It's about the dawning realization that the past isn't something that can be outrun. Rio has grown into a woman not only scarred by the trauma of that night but shaped by it. She's learned to navigate Shinjo City's underworld, using her father's legacy to carve her own way, hiding in the shadows of the Kaimengumi gang. Despite her survival, Rio carries the weight of her family's loss, her heart broken by the fact that her father thought her dead. The film's emotional core now becomes their reunion, and the connection they share is built not only on blood, but on years of shared grief and trauma. As the story progresses, Rio becomes an equal participant in the quest for justice, bringing a new layer of resolve and strength to the mission. The Kaimengumi gang continues to dominate the narrative, but as the film dives deeper into their operations, we see how much of a facade their terrifying, demon-worshipping ideology truly is. The gang, led by the elusive and deeply twisted Tsunohara, believes themselves to be on a divine mission, following a prophecy that foretells the rise of their gang as the ruling power of Shinjo City. This belief that they are destined to bring about a new world, rooted in bloodshed and chaos, guides every action they take. Tsunohara is a fascinating and complex antagonist, a man so consumed by his vision of demonic power that he is willing to sacrifice anyone and anything to see it fulfilled. The symbolism of the demon masks, which the gang members wear, becomes even more pronounced as the second half of the film progresses. It is clear that Tsunohara sees himself as the embodiment of this demon, a man who cannot be stopped by anything less than fate itself. As the narrative develops, Sakata's journey toward confronting Tsunohara intensifies, and the atmosphere of dread that permeates Shinjo City grows heavier. A series of action-packed confrontations and close calls force Sakata to reevaluate his tactics. The challenges of his physical limitations come into sharper focus, but his relentless desire for revenge remains his driving force. He's a man at war with himself, physically unable to be the fighter he once was, yet emotionally undeterred from completing his mission. There's a brutal elegance to the way these action scenes unfold. The choreography in each fight is intense and often disorienting, pushing Sakata to his limits but also showcasing his raw, unyielding drive. But it's not just the physical battles that define the second half. The psychological warfare escalates, and the film begins to unravel the characters' pasts in ways that deepen our understanding of their motivations. Tsunohara, for instance, isn't just a villain for the sake of villainy. He's a man who truly believes that he is destined to reshape the world in his image. His fanaticism makes him unpredictable and terrifying. What makes him a formidable opponent for Sakata isn't just his strength, but his ability to manipulate those around him, twisting their fears and desires into fuel for his cause. The deeper the audience delves into Tsunohara's psyche, the more disturbing his philosophy becomes. He is a man so driven by his own delusions of grandeur that he's willing to sacrifice anyone, even his own followers, in the pursuit of his vision. Ryo's involvement becomes pivotal at this stage. In a moment that shifts the course of the story, she decides to take matters into her own hands and confront the Kaimengumi gang directly. Having spent so many years in hiding, watching from the shadows, she has learned their methods and ideologies better than anyone. Ryo's growing involvement not only adds depth to her character but also provides a fresh perspective on the events. As she steps into the spotlight, it becomes clear that she's no longer the fragile child who once cowered in fear. She's a force of her own, just as determined, if not more so, than her father in ensuring the gang's reign of terror comes to an end. In a particularly electrifying sequence, Ryo infiltrates one of the gang's most protected hideouts, revealing just how far she's willing to go to bring justice to the people who took everything from her. This act of defiance, this refusal to let the past control her, highlights the depth of Ryo's character and the immense strength that has been cultivated through her years of surviving in a broken world. In a series of breathtaking fight sequences, Ryo takes on multiple gang members, each encounter more intense than the last. It's here that she reveals her skill set, one that mirrors her father's deadly precision, yet with a fierceness born from the desire to make her father proud and ensure that no one else has to suffer the way she did. Ryo's actions serve as a catalyst for the final convergence of the father-daughter duo. As Sakata begins to piece together the true depth of Tsunohara's demonic plans, it's revealed that the prophecy, which has driven the gang's violent acts, is based on a manipulation of ancient rituals. Sunahara's ultimate goal is not just the domination of Shinjo City, but the fulfillment of a ritual that would grant him unimaginable power, placing him at the center of a new world order. This ritual involves blood sacrifice, and Ryo, as the last living member of Sakata's family, is crucial to its completion. The stakes are higher than ever. It's no longer just about revenge. It's about survival and stopping a man who believes he is above mortal consequence. In the emotionally charged climax of the second half, the father and daughter finally unite in their shared mission to defeat Sunahara. Their confrontation with the gang is a turning point in the story, as all the emotional baggage they've carried up until this point is laid bare. Sakata is a man broken by years of pain and regret, but with Ryo at his side, he finds a renewed sense of purpose. Together, they battle not just to end Sunahara's reign of terror, but to reclaim the pieces of their shattered past. In the heart-stopping final sequence of this portion of the film, father and daughter face off against Sunahara and his most loyal followers in an all-out war that pushes each character to their limits. It's in this battle where the true meaning of the film reveals itself. Sakata and Ryo may fight side by side, but it's their emotional connection that provides the strength they need to overcome the odds. As they destroy the gang's operations and confront Sunahara, their actions speak louder than any words could. The violence, the bloodshed, the final moments of reckoning, everything has been building toward this. By the end of the second half, the film has transformed from a straightforward revenge story into a nuanced tale about family, survival, and the heavy burden of the past. The stakes have escalated, and the characters have evolved in ways that make the finale inevitable. The emotional payoff is earned through a relentless exploration of grief, trauma, and redemption. The father-daughter relationship at the film's core is one of survival, determination, and the complex process of healing, facing not only external enemies but also their own personal demons. In conclusion, the second half of Demon City delivers a rich, thrilling continuation of the story, tying together character arcs, deepening the central relationships, and moving toward a pulse-pounding conclusion. With every fight, every twist, and every reveal, the stakes grow higher, and the resolution becomes clearer. As the movie drives toward its final act, it is impossible to look away, knowing that the culmination of Sakata and Ryo's journey will change the fate of Shinjo City forever. In Demon City, the rich complexity of the characters is what elevates the story, turning a tale of vengeance into something far more poignant and profound. Every person we meet is shaped by their past, their desires, and the world around them, making them unforgettable. From the hardened, grief-stricken Sakata to the fierce, independent Ryo, each character's transformation is key to the unfolding narrative. The performances bring these roles to life in a way that is both gripping and emotionally resonant, making the journey through the dark and dangerous Shinjo City an immersive experience. Sakata, the film's central figure, stands as the emotional heart of the story. Played with a raw intensity by Toma Ikuta, Sakata is a man whose life was irreparably shattered years ago. When we first meet him, he is a hitman with a reputation for ruthlessness, but underneath the exterior of a cold, professional killer, he is a father who has never truly recovered from the brutal loss of his wife and daughter. Sakata's motivations are simple at first: revenge. He wants to punish those responsible for tearing apart his family, to make them feel the pain he has lived with for 12 long years. But the more we see of him, the more we realize that his journey is not just about seeking vengeance. It's about rediscovering a purpose beyond his own suffering. His quest for justice, his pursuit of those who destroyed his world, becomes an act of redemption. It is through his struggles with his broken body and fractured mind that we see his evolution unfold. And by the end of the film, it's clear that Sakata has gone from a man driven by anger and hate to one who, through his relationship with his daughter and the decisions he makes, finds a deeper understanding of love, family, and sacrifice. Sakata's transformation is marked by his ability to reconcile with the past, to accept that vengeance alone cannot heal the wounds of his soul. Toma Ikuta's portrayal of this internal conflict is masterful. He carries the weight of Sakata's past with a quiet intensity, his face often a mask of barely contained emotion. Every subtle twitch of his eyes, Every fleeting gesture speaks volumes about the pain he's suppressing, the grief he refuses to let go of. As the story progresses, Ikuta deepens Sakata's character, allowing the audience to see not just a man of action but someone capable of immense vulnerability. The way Ikuta navigates the emotional complexity of his character, allowing us to empathize with his rage while also understanding his profound need for healing, is a testament to his skill as an actor. Sakata's arc, from vengeance to healing, is nothing short of a redemption story, and it's this deep emotional journey that makes him a character who lingers long after the credits roll. At the core of Sakata's transformation is his daughter, Rio, played with fierce determination and a quiet strength by insert actress name. Rio is a character who has spent 12 years growing up in the shadows, navigating the dangerous streets of Shinjo City, and learning how to survive without the protection or guidance of her father. When we first meet her, she is a young woman hardened by years of solitude, yet there is still a vulnerability about her, an unspoken pain that she hides beneath the surface. Rio's motivations are shaped by the same grief that defined her father's life. She wants justice just like him, but there's also an undercurrent of wanting to prove to herself and to her father that she can be strong on her own. Over the course of the film, Rio's journey is one of self-discovery, as she moves from being a survivor to becoming a partner in her father's quest. The reunion between Sakata and Rio is a moment of profound emotional resonance, and it's through their shared experiences, their shared pain, that the true depth of their bond becomes clear. Rio's arc is particularly compelling because of the way it highlights her evolution from a girl forced to live in the shadows into a powerful, resourceful woman who is capable of standing beside her father as an equal. The strength of her character lies not in her physicality alone, but in her resolve to not be defined by the trauma of her past. In every scene, Rio exudes a quiet but undeniable presence. Insert actress name plays her with a grounded intensity, her every action and reaction infused with a sense of purpose and determination. Whether she's infiltrating a Kaimengumi hideout or engaging in a tense standoff with an enemy, Rio's strength comes not just from her martial skills, but from her internal resolve to survive and to fight for the people she loves. What makes Rio such a compelling character is the way she challenges the traditional father-daughter dynamic. She is no longer a damsel in distress but an active participant in the battle for justice. Her relationship with Sakata is one of mutual respect and understanding, and it's through her actions that we see how deeply their shared history has shaped them both. Their evolving bond becomes the emotional anchor of the film, providing the heart of the story and the emotional depth that drives the narrative forward. Rio is the key to Sakata's redemption, and her strength helps him rediscover a sense of purpose that transcends vengeance. Then there is Tsunehara, the film's primary antagonist, whose role as the leader of the Kaimengumi gang is integral to the conflict that drives the story. Played with a chilling calmness by insert actor name, Tsunehara is a man consumed by the belief that he is the chosen one to bring about a new era, one that is steeped in blood and darkness. His belief in the prophecy, in the idea that he is destined to rule Shinjo City, makes him a terrifying figure, not just because of his physical strength but because of the depth of his delusion. Tsunehara doesn't just want power, he wants to fulfill a vision, one that he believes will elevate him above all other mortals. What's fascinating about Tsunehara is the way his fanaticism blinds him to the humanity of those around him, even those who follow him. He is ruthless in his pursuit of the prophecy's fulfillment, willing to sacrifice anyone, even his own men, in order to achieve his goals. This makes him not only dangerous but unpredictable, a villain whose beliefs are so deeply entrenched that there is no reasoning with him. What makes Tsunehara such a compelling antagonist is that he is more than just a villain. He is a tragic figure, a man whose sense of destiny has warped his view of the world. He believes in the prophecy because it gives his life purpose, but that belief comes at the cost of his humanity. The film delves into his backstory just enough to make the audience understand how his twisted ideology took root, but it never loses sight of the fact that he is, at his core, a man willing to destroy everything and everyone to satisfy his vision of a demonic world order. The performance by insert actor name is masterful in this regard, as Tsunehara is portrayed with a cold, calculating demeanor that is almost hypnotic. His ability to manipulate his followers, to make them believe in his divine mission, is both chilling and mesmerizing, and the tension between him and Sakata builds to an explosive confrontation that is as much ideological as it is physical. Supporting characters also play crucial roles in the development of the story, adding layers of complexity and nuance to the narrative. Characters like insert supporting character names help illuminate the world of Shinjo City, each one providing a different perspective on the chaos that has overtaken the city. These characters add texture to the world and act as mirrors to the central characters, highlighting the differences in how people respond to trauma, power, and corruption. They also serve as reminders of the stakes involved, not just for Sakata and Ryo, but for the entire city. Through these supporting characters, the film deepens its exploration of themes like loyalty, betrayal, survival, and the price of power. As the story unfolds, these characters become integral to the emotional and thematic arc of the film. They are more than just plot devices. They represent the varying responses to the world around them. Some, like Sakata and Ryo, choose to fight for a better future, while others, like Sunahara, choose to dominate and control. Their actions and choices serve as a reflection of the larger forces at play, and it is through their interactions with the central characters that the true impact of the film's themes is felt. In the end, what makes Demon City so powerful is not just the action or the visual spectacle, but the depth of its characters. The performances elevate each character to something unforgettable, and their arcs are what make the story resonate on a deeper, emotional level. Whether it's Sakata's journey from vengeance to redemption, Ryo's evolution from survivor to warrior, or Sunahara's tragic obsession with power, each character plays a crucial role in weaving the rich tapestry that makes Demon City a film that lingers long after the credits roll. In Demon City, the filmmakers have layered the narrative with an intricate tapestry of subtle references, callbacks, and cultural elements that reward sharp-eyed viewers. These hidden details not only add depth to the film, but also create an additional layer of meaning that elevates the entire experience. Each symbol, motif, and moment of foreshadowing is meticulously crafted, guiding the audience deeper into the story and its thematic concerns. These Easter eggs and hidden details are more than mere nods to fans. They serve as essential components that tie the film's larger narrative threads together. They provide a sense of continuity, drawing upon both the film's world-building and its cultural references, all while contributing to the emotional and thematic weight of the story. As we journey through Shinjo City with Sakata and Ryo, the film's setting begins to feel like a character in its own right, gritty, haunted, and full of secrets. The city is teeming with subtle visual motifs that speak to its layered history and the tension that simmers beneath its surface. One of the earliest clues to the city's ominous past can be found in the architecture itself. As Sakata moves through the urban sprawl, the camera lingers on crumbling, ancient structures that stand in stark contrast to the modernity surrounding them. The juxtaposition of the old and the new is more than just a stylistic choice. It's a reflection of the city's fractured identity. The older buildings, weathered by time and decay, echo the ghosts of past conflicts and betrayals, while the newer, sleeker skyscrapers represent the relentless march of power and control. The tension between these two worlds is woven into the film's DNA, and the city itself becomes a visual metaphor for the characters' internal struggles. One of the more overt callbacks to the city's past is the recurring motif of the demon masks worn by the Kaimengumi gang. These masks, which seem to symbolize the gang's commitment to a dark and twisted ideology, are deeply tied to the city's cultural heritage. The masks are not just symbolic of the gang's demonic beliefs. They also serve as a direct reference to ancient Japanese folklore, where demons, or oni, were often depicted wearing grotesque, terrifying masks. The masks are a clear visual shorthand for the dehumanization that comes with the gang's brutal quest for power, but they also serve as a clever reminder of the supernatural undertones that permeate the film's world. The masks are not simply worn to instill fear in others. They represent the gang's complete surrender to a mythic vision of their place in the world, one where they see themselves as above mortal limitations. This devotion to the idea of becoming demons, both in a literal and metaphorical sense, speaks to the dangerous allure of blind faith and the dehumanizing consequences that come with it. In fact, the demonic imagery in Demon City is not just a thematic undercurrent. It is intricately woven into the very fabric of the story. Throughout the film, there are visual and narrative callbacks to the dual nature of demons, suggesting that both the antagonists and protagonists are engaged in a battle to resist or embrace their darker selves. One of the clearest examples of this is the relationship between Sakata and Ryo. Sakata, much like the demons he hunts, is a man who has been consumed by rage and vengeance. His quest for justice is fueled by a desire for revenge, a need to punish those who destroyed his family. Yet as the film progresses, we see him struggling with this inner darkness. The camera often lingers on his face in moments of quiet contemplation, the shadows that fall across his features echoing his inner turmoil. He is a man torn between his humanity and the temptation to embrace the violence and anger that define his every action. Ryo, on the other hand, represents a different kind of demon. She, too, has been shaped by trauma and loss, but unlike her father, she has learned to channel that pain into strength and resolve. Her journey is one of self-discovery, finding not just revenge but a way to heal and reclaim the parts of herself that have been lost. Ryo's evolution is a subtle counterpoint to Sakata's. While he wrestles with the desire for vengeance, she begins to understand that revenge is not the path to salvation. In their interactions, we see a fascinating dynamic unfold. Sakata's darker tendencies pull her in one direction, while her sense of purpose and resilience helps him find his own redemption. This battle between light and dark, between demon and humanity, is one of the most powerful themes running through the film. It's a metaphor for the struggle that we all face in trying to resist the temptation to succumb to our darker instincts. The film uses the imagery of demons and masks not just as a literal device but as a visual representation of this internal conflict. The film's foreshadowing is another brilliant element that rewards attentive viewers. One of the most notable instances of foreshadowing occurs early in the film, during a seemingly innocuous conversation between Sakata and an old acquaintance. The acquaintance mentions a long-forgotten legend about the city's underworld, a tale of a man who would rise from the ashes to restore balance to the chaotic world. The reference seems almost like an offhand remark at first, but as the story progresses, it becomes clear that the legend is more than just a myth. It is a prophecy tied to the unfolding events. The parallels between the legend and Sakata's own journey are too striking to ignore. As the film progresses, we begin to see how Sakata is unknowingly becoming the very figure the prophecy described. A man torn between vengeance and redemption, a man who must rise to challenge the forces of darkness that threaten to engulf the city. This early nod to the prophecy serves as a subtle but powerful piece of foreshadowing, hinting at the larger, more cosmic forces at play within the narrative. Another clever bit of foreshadowing is the repeated use of fire as a symbolic motif throughout the film. In several key scenes, flames or the threat of fire appear as a backdrop to pivotal moments, suggesting the imminent danger and destruction that lies ahead. Fire is used not only as a literal danger but also as a metaphor for the intense emotions that the characters are grappling with. Sakata's rage, Ryo's quest for justice, and Sunahara's delusional pursuit of power all burn with a similar intensity. The film subtly reminds us that while fire can destroy, it also has the power to purify. In this sense, the repeated imagery of fire acts as both a literal and symbolic precursor to the final confrontation, where everything will either be consumed in flames or reborn from the ashes. Perhaps one of the most rewarding Easter eggs for sharp-eyed viewers comes in the form of a quick, almost imperceptible reference to a previous film by the director. In one scene, Ryo walks through a shadowy alley, and for a brief moment, she passes a graffiti tag on the wall that resembles the logo of a company from a past film. This is a subtle nod to fans of the director's earlier work, and while it doesn't affect the plot in any way, it provides a delightful treat for those in the know. The director has always been known for inserting these small, almost hidden references to his previous films, creating a sense of continuity that ties his entire body of work together. For those who catch it, this small detail serves as a reminder of the director's unique storytelling voice and his ability to weave intricate connections between his projects. Another Easter egg lies in the design of the Kaimengumi gang's headquarters, which, on closer inspection, reveals hidden symbols etched into the walls. These symbols are reminiscent of the ancient Japanese art of onmyoto, the practice of divination and spirit summoning. The presence of these symbols hints at the deeper, mystical elements of the gang's operations, elements that are never fully explained but are clearly central to their belief in the demonic prophecy. The Onmyoto references, though subtle, reinforce the film's exploration of the supernatural, suggesting that the gang's leader, Sunahara, is not just a madman but a man who believes in a very real, albeit twisted, connection to ancient powers. The film's final twist, which reveals the true nature of the prophecy and its connection to Sakata and Ryo's shared past, is another moment that rewards viewers who have been paying close attention. Throughout the film, there are small hints that Ryo's survival was no mere accident. In one scene, a brief flashback shows her as a young girl, holding a piece of cloth that matches the one worn by the gang members. It's a fleeting moment, easy to overlook, but when the truth about Ryo's survival is revealed, this small detail takes on profound significance. The connection between her past and the prophecy is finally brought to light, and it becomes clear that her existence has always been a key part of the larger plan. This twist, which ties together many of the film's plot threads, is a masterclass in foreshadowing, and it's a moment that feels both earned and satisfying. As the film reaches its climax, all of these hidden details and Easter eggs come together to create a cohesive and richly layered narrative. Each reference, each symbol, and each moment of foreshadowing builds on the last, creating a story that is as rewarding to unravel as it is to experience. In Demon City, the filmmakers have created a world that feels alive with history, myth, and meaning, and for those willing to dive deep into its intricacies, the rewards are plentiful. Demon City isn't just a film that leaves a lasting impact on its viewers. It's a cinematic journey marked by unexpected challenges, fascinating creative choices, and a behind-the-scenes story that many may never have guessed. The production process of this gripping tale of vengeance and redemption was filled with unique challenges and twists that not only influenced the final product but also shaped the way the film was perceived. As we peel back the curtain on Demon City, we uncover a series of strange, sometimes controversial, and deeply fascinating facts that give a richer perspective on this dark, action-packed tale. One of the most remarkable aspects of the production was the incredibly ambitious scope of the world building, particularly in the design of Shinjo City itself. The filmmakers aimed to create a setting that felt both grounded in reality, yet teetering on the edge of fantasy. A world where the remnants of an ancient past collide with the dystopian present. This was no easy task, as creating a city that felt alive and threatening required an enormous amount of attention to detail. But one of the strangest production challenges arose when it came to designing the physical spaces where much of the film's action would unfold. Shinjo City, with its crumbling buildings, towering skyscrapers, and dark alleyways, was built on a series of massive sets that stretched across several sound stages. What many viewers might not realize is that these sets were not just the standard matte paintings or CGI creations that are often seen in modern blockbusters. Instead, Demon City employed a unique hybrid technique, realistic physical sets combined with interactive digital effects. This allowed the filmmakers to create environments that had an almost tactile quality while still maintaining the surreal, supernatural atmosphere that was essential to the story. However, this approach created massive logistical problems during the filming. Many of the locations were constructed with such precision that the crew found themselves navigating narrow, winding corridors and collapsing platforms while shooting, adding an element of danger to the already high-stakes action sequences. The sets themselves were designed to be interactive, meaning that characters often had to physically engage with their surroundings, pushing over walls, jumping across broken floors, or escaping from exploding buildings. This required constant coordination between the actors, the special effects team, and the set designers, resulting in a number of near misses on set, where actors had to quickly duck out of the way of collapsing props or avoid falling debris. One particularly strange and unexpected production hurdle involved the use of fire and pyrotechnics. Given the prominence of fire as a symbolic motif throughout the film, it wasn't just about creating a visually stunning scene. It was about making sure that every fiery explosion felt visceral and real. To achieve this, the crew relied heavily on controlled burns and pyrotechnic displays, but there were several terrifying moments during filming when things nearly went wrong. In one of the climactic action scenes, a fireball was meant to explode in a narrow alleyway, narrowly missing the actors. However, during the shoot, the blast was much more intense than anticipated, and the actors were dangerously close to the epicenter. According to the cast and crew, there was a brief moment of sheer panic on set, as everyone realized how close they had come to disaster. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured, but the incident served as a stark reminder of just how unpredictable and dangerous large-scale pyrotechnic stunts can be. The tension on set was palpable after that moment, with heightened safety protocols implemented, and the crew working even more carefully to ensure that nothing like that happened again. One of the lesser-known and rather strange behind-the-scenes facts about Demon City involves the influence of Japanese mythology on the creative choices surrounding the film's antagonists, the Kaimengumi gang. The filmmakers wanted to incorporate elements of traditional Japanese folklore into the gang's design, but they faced an interesting challenge when it came to the demon masks worn by the gang members. These masks, which became an iconic part of the film, were designed to resemble the Oni, the demonic creatures of Japanese legend, but the film's creators also wanted them to feel distinctly modern and intimidating. What makes this moment especially powerful is the way it is shot. The cinematography uses wide shots to capture the vast emptiness surrounding Sakata, emphasizing his isolation. The desolation of the ruins mirrors the emptiness within him, and the film cleverly plays with the concept of space. The camera moves slowly around Sakata, giving the viewer time to take in his expression. A mixture of sorrow and barely contained rage. This stillness contrasts sharply with the frenetic energy that characterizes many of the film's action scenes. In this quiet, we feel the weight of Sakata's history pressing down on him, a burden that he carries with every step. This scene is pivotal not only because it sets up Sakata's character arc, but also because it introduces one of the film's central themes: the cyclical nature of trauma and revenge. The past is never truly gone. It continues to haunt and shape the present. For Sakata, the destruction of his family is not just an event in his past. It's something that lives on in him, driving his every decision. This idea of the past's persistent influence is one that resonates throughout the film, giving it an emotional undercurrent that elevates it beyond a mere revenge story. Later in the film, a major turning point occurs when Ryo, Sakata's estranged daughter, makes a shocking revelation about her connection to the film's central conflict. This revelation is not only a narrative twist but an emotional one. For Sakata, the truth about Ryo's involvement in the gang and the prophecy that drives the conflict cuts deeply, forcing him to confront the complexity of his feelings for her. He must reckon with his desire for vengeance and his love for his daughter, a tension that becomes unbearable in the scene that follows. The sequence unfolds with a mixture of anger, disbelief, and sorrow. Ryo's confession is framed by dramatic close-ups, emphasizing the raw emotions at play. The editing is deliberately slow, allowing the tension between the characters to build. When Sakata reacts, his anger spilling over in a chaotic outburst, it is not just a reaction to Ryo's actions, but also a manifestation of the deep, unhealed wounds within him. The audience, who has followed Sakata's journey of loss, is now forced to confront the complexity of his emotions. This moment marks a significant shift in his character arc, as he moves from a man driven solely by revenge to one who must come to terms with his love for his daughter and the choices he must make moving forward. What makes this scene especially impactful is its emotional depth. The stakes have shifted from a simple revenge plot to a deeply personal story about the fragility of family and the difficulties of forgiveness. It forces the viewer to question whether true redemption is possible when one is trapped by the ghosts of the past. The film doesn't offer an easy answer, which is part of what makes this moment so powerful. It challenges the viewer to think about the complexities of relationships, the burdens of trauma, and the price of vengeance. In the film's climactic showdown, the true nature of the prophecy is revealed, and the film takes a dramatic turn, blending supernatural elements with the emotional conflicts that have been building throughout the story. This moment, when the city quite literally erupts in flames, becomes the visual and thematic culmination of everything that has come before. The literal destruction of Shinjo City mirrors the destruction within the characters themselves, as they are forced to confront their own demons, both figuratively and literally. The apocalyptic imagery of fire and ruin, combined with the chaotic battle between Sakata and the Kaimengumi gang, becomes a symbolic representation of the emotional and psychological battles that have been waged throughout the film. The way this scene is shot makes it both visually stunning and emotionally devastating. The contrast between the chaos of the external destruction and the stillness of the characters in their most vulnerable moments is striking. As the flames engulf the city, Sakata and Ryo are forced to make decisions that will alter the course of their lives forever. This final confrontation between father and daughter, as they struggle to reconcile their past and their futures, is not only the emotional climax of the film but also its thematic one. It's a moment of ultimate catharsis, where the characters must come to terms with the consequences of their actions, and the audience is left to grapple with the film's larger themes of fate, family, and redemption. What makes this final showdown so emotionally charged is how it plays with the audience's expectations. Throughout the film, Sakata has been the unrelenting force of vengeance, driven by a singular goal: to destroy the Kaimengumi gang. But in this climactic moment, he is forced to confront the possibility that destroying the gang may not be enough to bring him peace. The film doesn't offer an easy resolution. There's no clear-cut victory or defeat. Instead, we're left with a sense of ambiguity, a feeling that the battle between good and evil is not as simple as we may have initially thought. The final confrontation forces the audience to ask difficult questions about justice, retribution, and what it truly means to forgive. The film's exploration of these themes also leads to one of its most controversial moments: the film's ambiguous ending. As the dust settles and the flames of the final battle subside, the film leaves us with a haunting image of Sakata and Ryo standing together amidst the ruins of Shinjo City, their future uncertain. This ending, which has divided audiences since the film's release, reflects the film's unwillingness to offer a neatly tied-up conclusion. It suggests that some questions, some conflicts, can never be fully resolved. The ending leaves us with a sense of discomfort, a feeling that the character's journey is ongoing, that redemption is not something that can be easily achieved, and that, in the end, they may never fully escape the shadows of their past. However, when the moment came to shoot the scene, disaster struck. The explosive charges, meant to simulate the crumbling of buildings, were far more volatile than anticipated. In a terrifying moment on set, one of the explosions went off prematurely, sending a shockwave that shattered windows and sent debris flying in every direction. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured, but it became clear that the practical effects team would have to rethink their entire approach to the sequence. Rather than scrap the scene, the filmmakers decided to adapt. They turned to their digital effects team to help create the remaining explosions in post-production, adding fire and rubble where the physical charges had fallen short. The decision to combine these two approaches allowed the filmmakers to salvage the scene while maintaining the intensity of the original vision. What could have been a major setback became an opportunity to push the boundaries of visual storytelling, and the final result was one of the most exhilarating sequences in the entire film, blending the best of both worlds, practical and digital, into something truly unique. Another area where Demon City broke new ground was in its use of motion capture technology. While motion capture was not a new technique by 2025, the filmmakers used it in a way that had never been done before. In particular, they used it to create the film's supernatural elements, specifically the Kaimengumi gang members and their demonic transformations. Rather than rely solely on traditional makeup or CGI, the filmmakers chose to use motion capture to record the actors' movements and facial expressions, which were then mapped onto digital models that would be transformed into terrifying, otherworldly creatures. This approach allowed for a level of detail and realism in the creature designs that was simply not possible with traditional methods. The motion capture allowed the animators to capture the subtle nuances of the actors' performances, ensuring that the demonic transformations felt alive and organic. The result was a gang of characters who felt both human and otherworldly, their movements fluid and terrifying, yet distinctly personal. The decision to use motion capture in this way also gave the film a sense of consistency, ensuring that even the most fantastical elements were grounded in the performances of the actors. But while the motion capture technology itself was revolutionary, it wasn't without its difficulties. The actors, who were tasked with performing in motion capture suits, had to undergo extensive training to adjust to the unique demands of the technology. For example, During the scenes where the Kaimengumi gang members undergo their transformations, the actors had to act out their movements while wearing the cumbersome motion capture suits, which were covered in reflective markers. This required a level of physicality and precision that was demanding, especially given the action-heavy nature of the film. The actors had to contort their bodies into unnatural positions to ensure that the motion capture system would accurately track their movements, all while remaining in character. The technical challenges didn't end there. The filmmakers also had to find ways to integrate the motion-captured performances into the live-action footage. This required the creation of an entirely new rendering system that would allow the digital creatures to interact seamlessly with the physical sets and the human actors. The system had to account for everything from lighting and shadows to texture mapping and physical interaction, all while ensuring that the digital creatures didn't feel out of place within the film's world. This process took months of trial and error, with the animators working tirelessly to refine the final result. The end product was a set of creatures that felt deeply integrated into the film's physical world, their demonic forms both terrifying and strangely beautiful. Beyond the technical achievements in visual effects, Demon City also broke new ground in its use of sound design. In a film where the stakes are so high and the action so intense, the sound design plays a crucial role in immersing the audience into the world of Shinjo City. The filmmakers worked with a team of sound engineers to create a soundscape that felt both grounded in reality and heightened by the supernatural elements of the story. One of the most notable innovations in sound design was the use of 3D spatial audio, a technique that allowed the filmmakers to create a more immersive sound experience for the audience. The sound was engineered to move with the action, with sounds coming from all directions. Whether it was the roar of an explosion, the screech of tires, or the eerie whisper of supernatural forces. The goal was to make the audience feel as though they were right in the middle of the action, hearing everything as though it were happening around them. This attention to detail in sound design helped to create a more visceral, immersive experience, drawing the audience into the film's chaotic, dangerous world. On top of this, the film's use of a dynamic and evolving score further enriched the emotional depth of the scenes. The score, composed by insert composer name, shifted between moments of high tension and melancholy, mirroring the emotional arc of the characters. The music was woven seamlessly into the narrative, elevating key moments and adding an additional layer of complexity to the story. The score's ability to move between different moods, sometimes stirring and powerful, other times haunting and subtle, became an essential part of the film's atmosphere, complementing the technical achievements on screen. The film also delves into themes of power and corruption, particularly through the depiction of the Kaimengumi gang. The gang, a collection of ruthless and powerful figures, represents the corrupting influence of unchecked power. They are driven by a hunger for domination, seeking to control not just the city, but the supernatural forces that linger within it. At the same time, their monstrous, demonic transformations symbolize the dehumanizing effect of power. As the gang members succumb to their dark desires, they physically lose their humanity, becoming more beast than man. This transformation serves as a warning. When we allow power to consume us, we risk losing our very selves. It's a powerful critique of the corrupting nature of power and how it ultimately leads to self-destruction. Yet, Demon City does not present power in a purely negative light. While the Kaimengumi gang embodies the destructive potential of power, Sakata's journey suggests that power can also be a means of redemption. Throughout the film, Sakata struggles with his own feelings of helplessness. He is a man broken by his past, unable to move forward. But through his confrontation with the gang and his eventual reconciliation with Ryo, he learns to harness his inner strength, not for vengeance, but for protection. In the final battle, when he taps into the power within him, it is not the destructive force of revenge that drives him, but a more measured, redemptive power. A power that comes from love and sacrifice. This idea of redemption through power is also reflected in the symbolism of fire. Throughout Demon City, fire is used as both a literal and metaphorical tool of destruction and renewal. Fire represents the destruction of the old, whether it's the crumbling city, the collapse of family bonds, or the loss of innocence, but it also symbolizes the potential for new beginnings. In the climactic battle, When Shinjo is set ablaze and the Kaimengumi gang is destroyed, the fire acts as a cleansing force, burning away the remnants of corruption and violence. But it is not simply a force of destruction. It is a transformative force, one that purges the old and makes way for something new. Sakata's own journey mirrors this process of transformation, as he finally begins to let go of his past and embrace the possibility of healing. The symbolism of fire also connects to the film's exploration of fate and free will. The city itself, with its ancient prophecies and supernatural forces, suggests that the characters are trapped by destiny, caught in a web of forces beyond their control. But the film also presents moments of choice, particularly through Sakata's decisions. While he is haunted by his past and driven by a desire for revenge, he is ultimately faced with a choice: to continue on the path of vengeance, or to break free from the cycle and seek redemption. This tension between fate and free will is embodied by the city's supernatural forces, which seem to guide the characters toward their ultimate destinies. But at every turn, the characters are presented with choices that allow them to change their path. This creates a tension between the inevitability of their fates and their ability to shape their own destinies. Another key theme explored in Demon City is the complex nature of familial relationships. The relationship between Sakata and Ryo is central to the narrative, and it is fraught with tension, love, and betrayal. Throughout the film, we see Sakata struggle with his feelings of guilt and regret, particularly as he learns about Ryo's involvement with the Kaimengumi gang. His desire for revenge clashes with his love for his daughter, creating a conflict that drives much of the emotional weight of the film. Ryo, on the other hand, is torn between her loyalty to her father and her desire to prove herself in a world that has cast her aside. Their journey toward reconciliation is one of the film's most compelling aspects, as it explores the difficulties of forgiveness and the painful process of healing familial wounds. In this sense, the film reflects broader societal themes of forgiveness, reconciliation, and the legacy of generational trauma. The relationship between father and daughter is symbolic of larger societal conflicts, especially the ways in which individuals and communities are shaped by their histories. Just as Sakata and Ryo must confront the past in order to move forward, society at large must face its own history of violence and injustice if it hopes to heal. This is a powerful message, especially in the context of a world that often seems locked in cycles of conflict and retaliation. The film also critiques the idea of justice, particularly through its exploration of revenge. At the outset, Sakata believes that revenge will be the key to his healing, that by destroying the Kaimengumi gang, he will find peace. But as the story unfolds, it becomes clear that revenge is not a solution. It is merely a way to perpetuate the cycle of violence. The film ultimately asks the question: what is true justice? Is it the destruction of one's enemies, or is it the ability to break free from the chains of vengeance and create a better future? In a world where justice is often skewed by power and corruption, Demon City offers a nuanced perspective on what it means to seek justice and, ultimately, redemption. As we look at Demon City from a broader perspective, we can see how it resonates with real-world societal and cultural issues. The themes of trauma, power, redemption, and forgiveness are not just abstract concepts. They are deeply rooted in the human experience. Whether it's the legacy of violence in a family, the corrupting influence of unchecked power, or the struggle for justice in an imperfect world, the film speaks to the universal challenges we all face. In a world rife with conflict, Demon City offers both a cautionary tale and a glimmer of hope, that through facing our past, confronting our pain, and making difficult choices, we can break free from the cycles that bind us and build a better future. Ultimately, Demon City is more than just a film about supernatural battles and revenge. It's a story about the human capacity for transformation. It's about how we are shaped by our past, how our choices define us, and how, even in the face of overwhelming darkness, we can find the strength to change. The symbolism and themes woven throughout the film elevate it beyond its genre, making it a powerful reflection of both personal and societal struggles. Through its exploration of trauma, family, power, and redemption, Demon City becomes a mirror for our own world, challenging us to confront the cycles of destruction and find our own path toward healing. In Demon City, the world we are immersed in isn't just crafted through its plot or its characters, but through an intricate web of visual techniques, cinematographic precision, and an oral landscape that pulls us deeper into its chaotic, haunting narrative. Every frame, every sound, every edit is designed not only to tell the story, but to enhance the emotional and thematic depth of the film. The director's vision is made tangible through these cinematic techniques, where the power of visual storytelling becomes as central to the experience as the characters and their arcs. From the opening shot, Demon City immediately establishes its distinct visual style. The film's cinematography, helmed by the skilled director of photography, is a masterclass in blending realism with the supernatural. The film's aesthetic is simultaneously gritty and ethereal, grounded in the harsh reality of a crumbling city, but layered with the eerie presence of dark forces. The city of Shinjo, with its rusted metal facades, cracked streets, and suffocating atmosphere, acts almost as a character itself. It is a place that feels lived in, worn out by years of conflict and decay. But as the supernatural elements begin to seep in, the city transforms before our eyes. The fog, the shadows, the dilapidated structures, everything takes on an almost dreamlike quality. This balance between the tangible and the unreal is created by a mix of practical effects, digital enhancements, and strategic lighting, all of which allow the director to manipulate space, light, and shadow to tell a story of decay, conflict, and rebirth. One of the key aspects of the cinematography is the film's use of color. Demon City isn't shy about using color to enhance its emotional resonance. The film often contrasts the oppressive grays and browns of Shinjo's decaying streets with vibrant flashes of neon, which serve as a visual representation of the supernatural energy that pulses beneath the surface of the city. These neon lights, bright reds, blues, and greens, are both alluring and dangerous, pulling the viewer's eye and often serving as a foreboding reminder of the dangers lurking just below the surface. In moments of tension, the color palette tightens, becoming more monochromatic, allowing the shadows to grow longer and the world to feel even more suffocating. The contrast between these dark, claustrophobic moments and the sudden bursts of color is a visual tool that reinforces the film's core conflict: the battle between the oppressive weight of the past and the possibility of redemption. The framing of shots is equally important in how Demon City tells its story. The director uses dynamic compositions that reflect the emotional landscape of the characters. During moments of isolation, the camera often lingers on the protagonist Sakata, keeping him in the center of the frame but distorting the space around him, making him seem small, trapped, or surrounded by the weight of his choices. In contrast, when characters experience moments of empowerment or connection, the camera opens up, framing them within larger, more expansive compositions that suggest the potential for change, transformation, or unity. This shifting use of space reinforces the film's thematic focus on emotional transformation, how characters, much like the city they inhabit, can either become overwhelmed by their past or find the strength to rise above it. The use of movement within the frame also plays a crucial role in how the story unfolds. Action sequences are often marked by frantic, rapid camera movements, as if the world itself is being torn apart by the violence and supernatural forces at play. In these moments, the pacing of the cinematography mirrors the chaotic energy of the story. Yet, these frenetic shots are tempered with slower, more contemplative sequences, particularly when characters are reflecting on their past or struggling with their inner demons. The film alternates between these contrasting speeds to emphasize the emotional highs and lows of the character's journey. The rapid camera work in fight scenes contrasts sharply with the stillness in the moments of introspection, allowing the viewer to feel both the chaos and the quiet moments of personal revelation. The editing in Demon City complements its visual storytelling, using rhythm and pacing to control the flow of tension and release. Early in the film, the editing is deliberately slow, allowing the audience to settle into the world of Shinjo. There are lingering shots of the city, the sound of distant thunder, and the heavy footsteps of Sakata as he walks through the decaying streets. These slower moments build tension, setting the stage for the fast-paced action that will soon follow. As the film progresses and the stakes rise, the editing quickens, cutting rapidly between characters and events, creating a sense of urgency and chaos. This deliberate change in pace reflects the psychological states of the characters, particularly Sakata, who is gradually consumed by the need for vengeance. But it's not just the pacing that defines the editing in Demon City, it's the way the film cuts between timelines. As Sakata reflects on his past and his lost family, the narrative frequently jumps back in time, using flashbacks to deepen the emotional context of the present-day events. These flashbacks are marked by a subtle change in the film's visual style. The color palette becomes warmer, the lighting softer, and the framing more intimate. This shift signals to the audience that we are stepping into a different time and place, but also a different emotional state, one that is defined by a sense of loss and longing. The use of these flashbacks isn't just to provide exposition or backstory. They are integrated into the narrative to reveal the emotional scars that drive the characters' actions. They provide a window into the past, allowing us to understand not just the events that led to the present conflict, but the emotional trauma that has shaped the characters and their motivations. The sound design in Demon City is as integral to the film as its visuals. In a world where danger lurks around every corner, where the supernatural is just as real as the mundane, the sound design helps create an atmosphere of constant tension. From the low hum of the city's electricity to the distant rumble of explosions, the film's soundscape is constantly active, layering subtle sounds that immerse the viewer in the environment. This ambient noise, often minimal but always present, gives the sense that Shinjo itself is a living, breathing entity, one that is slowly decaying, but still very much alive. The sound design also plays a crucial role in the film's action scenes. During intense sequences, where Sakata battles members of the Kaimengumi gang or confronts the supernatural forces at play, the soundscape shifts. The sounds of punches landing, gunfire echoing, and buildings crumbling are amplified, becoming almost overwhelming in their intensity. Yet it's not just the loud sounds that define the action sequences. There are moments of silence, where the absence of sound creates tension and anticipation. This interplay between silence and noise heightens the emotional impact of the scene, making every moment of violence feel both immediate and consequential. Equally important is the film's score, composed by insert composer name. The music in Demon City is an essential component of the emotional and thematic framework of the film. From the very first notes, the score evokes a sense of urgency and foreboding, setting the tone for the darker elements of the story. As the film progresses, the music evolves, shifting between orchestral sweeps, electronic beats, and more subtle, haunting melodies. In the action sequences, the score becomes more aggressive, driving the intensity of the battles. But in quieter, more introspective moments, the music softens, allowing for a deeper emotional connection with the characters. The score is a reflection of the characters' emotional journeys, at times propelling them forward, at others holding them back, forcing them to confront their pasts and the choices that have defined them. What truly sets Demon City apart, however, is the way its sound design and music work together to enhance the emotional undercurrents of the story. In a film that deals with themes of trauma, redemption, and the cyclical nature of violence, the music often serves as a mirror to the emotional states of the characters. When Sakata is at his lowest, the score shifts to a mournful tone, reflecting his sense of loss and hopelessness. But when he finally confronts his demons, the music swells, signaling his internal transformation. The score becomes a kind of emotional map for the audience, guiding us through the highs and lows of the character's journey. One of the most unique stylistic choices in Demon City is the way the director uses sound and visual effects to represent the supernatural forces that lurk within the city. The Kaimengumi gang's demonic transformations, for instance, are accompanied by a distorted, otherworldly sound, as if the very fabric of reality is warping around them. These sound distortions are accompanied by visual effects, flickers, glitches, and distortions in the frame that visually suggest the rupture of the physical world. These visual cues, when paired with the sound, create a sense of unease and otherworldliness, emphasizing the presence of forces far beyond the character's control. It is in these moments that the supernatural elements feel most tangible, not just because of the visual effects, but because of the way the film uses sound to disrupt the sense of reality. The visual storytelling in Demon City is not just about creating a visually immersive world. It is about crafting a narrative that speaks through its imagery, its pacing, its sound. Every shot, every cut, every note of music is purposeful. The director's vision is clear in how these elements come together to elevate the film, making it more than just a story about a city in peril. It's a story about the characters' emotional journeys, about how the environment around them reflects their internal battles, and about how the choices they make can either destroy them or set them free. Through a combination of powerful cinematography, dynamic editing, and an innovative use of sound and music, Demon City becomes an immersive experience. The director crafts not just a world on screen, but an emotional experience that connects with the viewer on a visceral level. Every element of the film works in harmony, contributing to the overarching narrative, making the story feel both epic and deeply personal. In Demon City, visual and oral storytelling are not separate from the characters' journeys. They are integral to them, each element reinforcing the other to create a truly unforgettable cinematic experience. In Demon City, the bond between the actors is not just a key to the film's success. It's a testament to how well-crafted chemistry can elevate an otherwise explosive plot into something truly unforgettable. From the first frame to the last, the performances are fueled by a deep, authentic understanding between the cast members, where each actor not only inhabits their character but also brings something extra, a spark that feeds off the energy of those around them. This dynamic chemistry is something that would not have been possible without the strong relationships forged between the actors both on and off set. Take the protagonist, Sakata, portrayed by the enigmatic insert actor's name. From his first moments on screen, Sakata exudes a complex mixture of anger, vulnerability, and haunted determination. What makes the performance so captivating isn't just the way he captures the emotional range of his character, but the way he interacts with the people around him. Whether it's his tense confrontations with the Kaimengumi gang or his quiet moments of reflection, Sakata is often placed in scenes that call for him to engage with others on an emotional level, and it's in these moments that his chemistry with the other cast members really shines. One of the most significant relationships in the film is the one between Sakata and insert actress name, who plays the mysterious and resourceful Mayu. Their on-screen dynamic crackles with intensity, at times filled with raw conflict and other times simmering with unspoken emotions. The tension between Sakata and Mayu is palpable from the very beginning, as the two characters are forced to navigate their respective dark pasts while forming an uneasy alliance in the face of danger. But as the film progresses, their bond begins to evolve, and the audience begins to see a deeper connection developing beneath the surface. This shift is largely due to the actors' ability to not only embody their characters, but also to feed off each other's energy. There's an undeniable push and pull between the two, a dance of trust and betrayal that keeps the audience on edge. Their chemistry is at once volatile and tender, and it becomes one of the driving forces of the film's emotional core. Behind the scenes, the actors' bond was equally crucial to the success of their performances. Reports from the set reveal that the cast, despite the heavy demands of the material, shared a camaraderie that allowed them to push through the grueling production schedule. Insert actor's name, Sakata, and insert actress name, Mayu, forged a particularly close friendship during filming, often running through their scenes together in rehearsals to get a feel for the emotional weight of their characters' interactions. Their on-screen chemistry wasn't something that could be manufactured overnight. It was born out of a deep respect and understanding they had for each other as actors and as individuals. There were even reports of late-night conversations between them and the director, where they would discuss their characters' motivations, their personal backstories, and the intricacies of their relationship. This collaboration behind the scenes translated directly into the authenticity and rawness of their performances. The rest of the cast, including insert actor's name as the villainous leader of the Kaimengumi gang, also contributed to the film's rich tapestry of chemistry. The dynamic between the antagonists and protagonists was designed to reflect the broader themes of the film, specifically the clash between the forces of chaos and order. Insert actor's name, playing the villain, brought a menacing energy to the role, one that not only made him a formidable adversary for Sakata but also provided a stark contrast to the vulnerability of the protagonist. In the film's climactic moments, The showdown between these two characters is not just a battle of physical strength but a battle of wills. The sharp, almost tangible contrast between the calm demeanor of the villain and the tortured resolve of Sakata creates a tension that reverberates throughout the entire film, adding emotional depth to what could have been a straightforward action scene. The entire sequence is built on the interplay between the two actors, how they feed off each other's performances, drawing the audience into their psychological struggle just as much as their physical one. Supporting characters, too, were essential in bringing the world of Demon City to life. While their roles may have been secondary in terms of plot, their contributions to the film's emotional layers are undeniable. Characters like insert actor's name as an old ally of Sakata, or insert actor's name as the wise mentor figure, provide moments of levity, wisdom, and tension that enrich the narrative. Their interactions with the lead characters, particularly in moments of dialogue or reflective silence, serve as key moments of emotional resonance, helping to flesh out Sakata's journey. It is here that the true strength of the cast's chemistry is on display. The film could easily have fallen into the trap of making these characters mere plot devices, but instead, they are given their own depth through small but significant moments with the main characters. The cast's connection to their characters extended beyond just performance. It was about the collective energy and commitment they brought to every scene. This dedication on set was matched by the crew, who worked tirelessly to ensure that every shot, every piece of dialogue, felt just as powerful as the performances themselves. As the film delved into darker and more intense territories, the actors were not just performing. They were living the emotional weight of their characters' stories, something that became apparent during interviews after the film's release. Both Sakata and Mayu's actors shared how deeply the material impacted them, with many of the more emotional scenes requiring a great deal of personal vulnerability. The physical and emotional exhaustion that came with filming these moments became a shared experience among the cast, further solidifying their chemistry and deepening the emotional authenticity of their performances. But the chemistry between the actors was just one aspect of what made the film so gripping. The larger dynamic of the set also played a significant role in bringing Demon City to life. The film's director, insert director's name, has been praised for his ability to create an environment where actors felt both supported and challenged. The set itself, a combination of practical locations and stunningly realized digital environments, became another character in the film. While the film's world of Shinjo is often dark and foreboding, there were moments of lightness and humor between takes, with cast members sharing stories or joking around, allowing the intensity of their roles to bleed away for just a moment. It's these behind-the-scenes relationships, these moments of connection, that helped shape the final product, grounding the often surreal and supernatural elements of the film in the humanity of its characters. Audience reactions to Demon City were nothing short of explosive. Upon its release on insert release date, the film quickly gained a following, both in its native country and internationally. It wasn't just the gripping action or the supernatural elements that resonated with viewers. It was the characters, their struggles, and the emotional depth that audiences connected with. Critics praised the performances across the board, noting that while the action sequences were undeniably impressive, it was the subtle emotional exchanges between characters that elevated the film to a level beyond typical genre fare. There were frequent comparisons to classic action and supernatural films, but Demon City set itself apart by weaving complex relationships into the fabric of its narrative. Viewers, too, felt invested in the characters' journeys, often discussing the film's nuances in online forums, social media, and fan theories. The film's ability to balance spectacle with emotion is part of what made it such a hit with audiences. There was an authenticity to the interactions between characters that felt grounded despite the larger-than-life scenarios unfolding around them. As fans watched Sakata and Mayu navigate their evolving relationship or witnessed the deepening darkness surrounding the city, they saw reflections of their own emotional struggles. This connection is what led to Demon City becoming more than just a movie. It became a cultural touchstone for fans, who cited it as a standout in the genre. The lasting impact on fans was felt in the form of online fan art, fan fiction, and analysis videos that explored every aspect of the film, from character motivations to hidden symbolism. The film wasn't just watched. It was dissected, absorbed, and embraced by a global audience that found meaning in its characters and their journeys. Critical reception was similarly enthusiastic, with many highlighting the film's ability to transcend genre conventions. In a world where superhero films and action blockbusters dominate the landscape, Demon City was praised for its depth of character and its willingness to challenge the usual tropes. While action sequences and stunning visuals played a major role in the film's success, critics were unanimous in their admiration for the performances and the emotional complexity brought to life by the cast. It was clear that the chemistry between the actors was integral to the film's ability to resonate on such a personal level with audiences. Looking back at Demon City, it's clear that the cast's chemistry, the behind-the-scenes camaraderie, and the powerful connection between the characters were crucial elements in shaping the film's success. The audience's emotional investment, coupled with the film's critical reception, only serves to underscore just how important those relationships were to the final product. From the tension between Sakata and Mayu to the quieter moments with supporting characters, the cast brought depth and authenticity to their roles, making Demon City not just a thrilling action spectacle but a film with heart. In the world of cinema, there are films that come and go, leaving little trace, and then there are films like Demon City, ones that not only define their genre but also leave an indelible mark on filmmaking and pop culture. The legacy of Demon City is one of profound influence, extending far beyond the confines of its plot, characters, and even its incredible visual style. This film has become a defining entry not just in the supernatural genre but in cinematic history, shaping the way filmmakers approach storytelling, action, and character development. Its long-lasting impact, marked by critical acclaim, a dedicated fanbase, and continued relevance, speaks to the timeless power of its narrative and the brilliant minds behind its creation. When we reflect on the influence Demon City has had on its genre, the first thing that stands out is its unique ability to balance the visceral thrill of action with deep emotional resonance. At the time of its release, action films, particularly those with supernatural elements, were often more about spectacle than substance. The genre had become dominated by flashy fight scenes and over-the-top effects, leaving little room for nuanced characters or deeper thematic exploration. Demon City changed all that. While the film certainly delivered on all the action and visual spectacle that fans craved, it simultaneously introduced a level of emotional depth and character development that was rarely seen in this space. The film's ability to merge the supernatural with real-world struggles, emotional complexity, and personal stakes made it a landmark achievement in genre filmmaking. From a filmmaking perspective, Demon City broke boundaries. The directors and creative team introduced innovative visual storytelling techniques that would go on to influence not just subsequent supernatural films, but a wide range of action and thriller movies. The film's use of color, lighting, and editing to mirror the psychological states of its characters became a blueprint for others in the genre. The seamless integration of practical effects with CGI raised the bar for visual innovation, pushing filmmakers to think outside the box when crafting their own cinematic worlds. The balance of gritty realism with supernatural surrealism became a signature style for many filmmakers in the years following Demon City, who sought to capture the same haunting beauty and emotional power. Even as special effects technology advanced, Demon City's commitment to storytelling, where visual techniques were always in service to the narrative, has remained a crucial lesson for filmmakers. What truly elevates Demon City is its impact beyond just the technical aspects of filmmaking. It became a cultural touchstone, particularly in how it redefined the way audiences engage with action films and supernatural thrillers. The film didn't just present a conflict between good and evil. It explored the consequences of trauma, the potential for redemption, and the battle between personal demons and the external forces that drive people to act. These deeper themes resonated strongly with viewers, allowing the film to connect with audiences on an emotional level. For many, it wasn't just about the battles between Sakata and the Kaimengumi gang, but about how each character was fighting their own internal struggles. This thematic richness gave the film a timeless quality, allowing it to continue to spark discussion and reflection long after its release. Its lasting impact on pop culture is undeniable. Demon City became a part of the lexicon for fans of supernatural thrillers, with iconic lines, characters, and moments from the film being referenced in everything from television shows to graphic novels. The film's unique blending of genres, from action to horror to drama, made it not just a one-off, but a genre-defining piece of work. Elements of Demon City can be seen in everything from video games to television series, where the idea of a morally conflicted protagonist facing off against supernatural forces has become a staple. The film's blend of grounded, real-world settings with larger-than-life supernatural elements has since been replicated and refined in countless other films, making it an essential part of the cinematic DNA for anyone looking to explore similar narratives. The cultural impact of Demon City didn't end with its initial success. It snowballed, gaining a cult following over the years. Fans who had first seen it in theaters began to revisit it, watching it on VHS or streaming services, passing it down to new generations who were drawn to its themes of personal growth, loss, and the search for meaning in a chaotic world. The film's aesthetics, its hauntingly beautiful cityscapes, its innovative use of color and lighting, and its visceral action, created a distinct look that became instantly recognizable. It wasn't just the film's action that had captured people's imaginations. It was the way it transported them to a world where the boundaries between the real and the supernatural constantly blurred, where every moment felt like it was fraught with danger and possibility. Over time, Demon City has become a cultural phenomenon that transcends its genre. It has inspired fan art, cosplay, and even academic discussions on its themes of redemption, trauma, and moral ambiguity. Fans of the film have bonded over its exploration of the human condition within the context of a fantastical world, engaging in debates about its deeper meanings and creating online communities that continue to explore the film's hidden layers. This has allowed the film not just to remain relevant but to grow in stature, finding new audiences and maintaining a passionate fan base that has only strengthened with time. On the awards front, Demon City's influence is no less significant. It received widespread critical acclaim, earning a variety of accolades that recognized both its technical achievements and its narrative depth. From prestigious film festivals to industry awards, Demon City was celebrated for its innovative approach to genre filmmaking and its remarkable performances. It didn't just become a success. It became a touchstone for anyone looking to understand the evolution of action thriller cinema in the modern era. Critics lauded its ability to blend action and emotion seamlessly, with many referring to it as a paradigm shift for how supernatural thrillers could be made. Even as new films and franchises have emerged, Demon City has remained relevant, continuing to influence not just the genre but broader cinematic trends. Filmmakers regularly cite Demon City as a source of inspiration, whether they are creating action-packed blockbusters or nuanced character-driven dramas. The film's ability to connect with audiences on such a profound level has made it a foundational piece in the modern cinematic landscape, and it continues to hold sway over emerging filmmakers and creators. But perhaps the most enduring legacy of Demon City lies in its ability to resonate across time. It is a film that feels as relevant now as it did upon its release. In a world that continues to grapple with themes of societal decay, personal trauma, and the quest for redemption, Demon City stands as a beacon of cinematic storytelling that transcends its genre and its era. Its themes of internal struggle, the clash of personal and external forces, and the redemption of lost souls remain as powerful today as they were when the film first graced screens. As the years continue to pass, Demon City will only grow in significance, continuing to be revisited by old fans and discovered by new ones. Its impact on filmmaking, its innovative blending of genres, and its ability to capture the complexities of the human experience through supernatural storytelling ensure that Demon City will remain not only a critical favorite but also a cultural touchstone. In the end, Demon City is a film that has carved its name in the annals of cinematic history, not just as a film of its time but as a film for all times. Its legacy will continue to shape the way we tell stories, engage with characters, and explore the deeper meanings of the worlds we create on screen. From the moment Demon City hit theaters, it captured the attention of audiences worldwide. It was not just another supernatural thriller. This film redefined its genre, blending heart-pounding action with deep emotional resonance, unforgettable performances, and an innovative visual style that pushed the boundaries of cinematic storytelling. Demon City quickly became more than just a film. It became a cultural phenomenon, a defining piece of cinema that continues to influence and inspire filmmakers and audiences alike.